sleeping right now. Yes, so again, we are recording just so we can share with people on the other side of the globe who are sleeping right now or who couldn't make it at this time. This will be a sort of informal discussion. If you want to open your camera, like turn on cameras and turn on your microphones, but please keep in mind it is recorded, just so you know. But hey, welcome everyone. I'm super happy to have all of you here. My name is Julie. I'm joining you from Canada. And with me, I have a few people, Catherine, Anna, and actually, let's go Breezy first very briefly. Do you want to introduce yourself so people can see you? Well, say something, otherwise the recording won't pick you up.
Oh, hi, I'm Breezy.
Anna?
Hello, I'm Anna. Hi.
I'm Catherine Williamson.
And we're supposed to have Christine with us, but we know Christine was traveling today, so we'll see if she can join us a bit later. So each of us, we work in astronomy and astronomy education on some levels, and we are very concerned about the future of our planet. So decided to, and I feel very honored to be able to share sort of the screen with these amazing women because they're all inspiring me in different ways. And I thought it was great to just come together and share with you some resources that we've used in the past or things we do that we hope will leave the world a better place. Before we get started with the parts that we had, I'm just kind of curious if some of you want to quickly mention where you're from or what type of education do you do. Either turn on your cameras and your microphones and tell us, or you can type in the chat. But maybe you could leave a few minutes for that so we know a bit who's in the audience. But don't be shy to unmute yourself if you'd like to say it. Yes.
Hi. I'm Magnus Naslund from Stockholm.
Nice meeting you. Thanks for being there.
I am Mike Urakowski from Minnesota. And it's nice to recognize so many different faces on here. Some of you I've run into across the world. It's very exciting.
Nice. Thanks for being there.
I want to read from the chat because there is a couple of people who says, Nina said, I'm originally from Germany and I'm currently a postdoc in the United States. Then we have Analí Pacheco who says, hi, Analí, I'm joining from Puebla, Mexico. Hola, I am an informal educator. And then Catherine Williamson said, we invite you to also type your name and add this a bit into the document. She shared a document on the chat. If you can please share, check the chat. There is a document there.
Catherine, we might have to share the link to the Google Doc a few times. If people come in, they won't see the chat before. Yeah, thank you. And multimedia specialist from Penn State Astronomy. Hey, welcome everyone. This is fantastic. From Planetarium in Alaska. Great. Well, thanks everyone for being there. If you're joining, you probably saw our abstract and that connected with you. So four of us for now, and let's see if Christine shows up. But we have prepared a few things, a few slides or a few resources to share with you. And then if you would like to share activities and resources, we'll be happy to hear from everyone as well. So I think we're going to go in the order in the document. I'll go last though. So Breezy, do you want to get started with your presentation?
Yes, sure. So hello, everyone. Okay, I'm admitting people. Maybe Julie, you can take charge.
I'll take over. I'll take over, Breezy, doing
okay.
that.
Thank you. Okay, so hello, everyone. Just a quick introduction. My name, it's Breezy. I am from the Dominican Republic. So my language is Spanish, and most of the things, but none of the things I'm going to talk about are in Spanish language. So if you ever want to connect later about the Spanish, I want to shout out about the chat. We have a chat on Slack that is language Spanish. We can connect there as well. Yes, so let me just share my screen real quick. Hi. Sorry, one moment. It disappeared, the screen sharing option on my, let me just. Sorry, if anybody wants to go first, somehow I can find it.
Oh, strange. I still see it, but it doesn't work for your computer. Anna, do you want to go first then?
I found it. Okay, but I
oh,
can wait.
Go ahead, Breezy, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Okay, now, yes, can you see my screen real quick?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so basically, I just want to share a couple of things we're doing related to astronomy and the concern for the planet. And I think this is kind of a rhetorical question, why astronomy, right? We all love astronomy, even as little kids. Probably the ones that are here have found interested in astronomy, curiosity in astronomy. So astronomy, it's like a door. I can see it as a door that you can open to, be able to access more information. And astronomy, knowing more about astronomy and about the universe, will help us understand how special planet Earth is. So there is one of the, I teach a class, and in this class, I basically talk about everything astronomy, okay, that is related in a way to planet Earth, and that leads to the final understanding that planet Earth is unique and special for us humans. So this class, I call it Earth, a Perfect Planet, but basically what I mentioned in this class is why is planet Earth so special? Like everything that makes it so special, like its atmosphere, for example, and a very magical thing that we can do here on planet Earth is that we take a seed, we plant the seed, and a tree grows and gives us food, right? Remember, this class is focused for kids. I teach this class basically from teachers that are around 7 to 12, but it can be adapted to other ages when that's the public I have. But in general, this is the kids I'm talking about. And I say this to put this into context. So we talk about Earth's atmosphere and we compare it with Venus and Mars, and why, for example, what happens when the atmosphere is too thick in the case of Venus and with too many greenhouse gases, and in the case of Mars, we have a lot less atmosphere, and what would that imply for us, for example? And again, magnetic field. We talk about magnetic field and how the fact that Earth has a special magnetic field and a very strong magnetic field, and the importance and the implications of that, because, for example, we think in Mars there was oceans with water, but that water is not there anymore. And we believe maybe because Mars's magnetic field is not there anymore, the solar wind has taken the atmosphere of Mars. So we talk about these, how special the fact that we have a strong magnetic field is protecting Earth from the solar winds and keeping us here. We talk about habitable zone and and what it is, we explain, and we also talk about habitable zone in extrasolar planets and the fact that maybe a planet is in the habitable zone, but that doesn't necessarily imply that it's habitable for us. And again, the speed of light, because we tend to think or hear comments like, oh yes, but the closest planet to star to us has a planetary system with planets in the habitable zone, and that's 4.2 light years away. So it's far, of course, but it's not that far until we understand what the speed of light is and the distances it actually represents. And then, because I'm talking to younger kids, I love to tell them how the light can travel around the entire planet Earth 7 times in 1 second. But if I try to go 7 times around my own finger in 1 second, I can't do that. So just kind of to put things into perspective. And of course, we talk about exoplanets and what we know of them so far. Then there is a similar, let's say not class, but talk that has been made, but this time it's more for adults. Basically, what I'm thinking with this one is to talk about teachers or to talk with parents about these topics, because it is important that we all understand, but always wanted to do it from kind of the knowledge point of view, try not to bring the stress that it could imply for, well, for us adults, but imagine the kids. When we talk with the kids about this topic, I find I have kids, so I find that I always have to think what I'm going to say and think the way I'm going to say things, because I don't want to ignite fear. I want to ignite courage of, yes, we can do this and we need to do this. Yes, there is a problem. Yes, and but we can solve it kind of energy. And then another separate topic, something we've done in Dominican Republic in the context of the 100 hours of astronomy, is that we launched a contest of art, and they had to draw something, art and space, related to space, using, when possible, renewable sources, materials, maybe leaves, plants, something like that, to incorporate in their art when they wanted to do a collage. But they had to write a paragraph, a small paragraph, explaining what they have learned about taking care of planet Earth through astronomy. So these kids have not taken any of the classes that I mentioned before. The idea is to kind of open that questions into their mind. I'm not expecting, or we didn't expect like the answer, right? We just expected them to say, from astronomy perspective, what can I learn about planet Earth? And once we've done that, I would love to, after reading their answer, I would love to kind of get together with these kids and maybe talk about the other classes that I mentioned about that are related to these, because they have already asked themselves these questions already. Their answers, some of them are pretty interesting and pretty good. And then the last screen the last image I want to show is just the scale model of the solar system in terms of sizes. And the reason why I mentioned this, we can do the same thing. I've done the same thing, and I forgot to put the photo in terms of distance. When I make them walk around the solar, it's like a loop like this, where I put the distances of the planet in a scale model, and as well as drawing them. The reason for these, in my opinion, is when you realize the sizes in the universe and the distances we have in the universe, then also we start to understand how big is everything around us and how important it is to take care of what we have here right now. Usually I like to also mention some phrases from the astronauts who have been outside the planet, have taken a look at planet Earth, and that makes an impact on them, right? But basically my conclusion is that the more we know about something, the more we care for it, right? And the more we know about the universe and the Earth, the more we want to respect planet Earth, because planet Earth is not disposable. Thank you. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Breezy. Thanks to everyone who made it here, who were in the wrong Zoom link as well. I know many of you were there and made it here, so thanks for following us along. So thanks, Breezy. And
Sure.
Maybe, are there specific questions for Breezy as we wait, or should we just move forward? Maybe Anna, as you get ready and start showing your screen, if there's someone who has a question for Breezy, otherwise we could discuss more at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Anna, you're next.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Breezy. And thanks, Julie. Let's see, I think I'm not spotlighted, so maybe I'll do that. Hi, I'm Anna Hurst. I use she and they pronouns, and I'm joining you from Ramaytush Ohlone land in San Francisco, California. I work at an organization called the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, or ASP for short. I see some folks in this audience who are familiar with us, but maybe some of you aren't. We are a nonprofit organization whose mission is to use astronomy to increase the understanding and appreciation of science and advance science and science literacy. We connect scientists, educators, amateur astronomers, and the public to learn about astronomical research, improve astronomy education, share resources that engage learners of all kinds in the excitement and adventures of scientific discovery. We work with some of our current programs are supporting college faculty, K-12 science teachers, amateur astronomy clubs, science museums, libraries, park rangers, Girl Scouts, and many others. So basically anyone who's talking to students or the public about astronomy, we try to help them do it more effectively and give them the resources to do that. And I just wanted to mention that the founding of Astronomers for Planet Earth was announced at the ASP's annual meeting in 2019. And we've kind of maintained a friendly relationship over these 3 years. There's some ASP staff who volunteer with A4E, and we co-hosted last year's symposium. So we're really excited to keep up that connection. Speaking of the ASP's annual meeting, I just wanted to briefly mention that our annual meeting or virtual conference is coming up next week, and it's going to be for folks like us who are excited about sharing astronomy with the public and with students. And there'll be all kinds of sessions on different topics, but with a particular focus on those solar eclipses that are coming up in the next few years for us in North America, and also the JWST and all the exciting images we're getting from it. So if you're interested, come check us out. I'll let me quick grab a link to drop in the chat for you. Sorry, so many things going on my screen. Can I find the chat? I might drop it in afterwards. Too many things on my screen. So I just wanted to give like a quick glimpse of like the types of activities we develop at the ASP. And actually, this one is not fully developed, but we love scale models at the ASP. So this is one that's all about water, and it's based on just some of, I'm going to show you a couple graphics that came from other organizations. So this is the US Geological Society. Just looking at, if we look at the Earth, how much of the volume of the Earth is actually water. We think of so much water on Earth, and we're the water planet, right? And here you can see if we took all the water and formed it into a sphere, how would it compare to the size of the Earth? And here's another breakdown, you know, different graphical ways to represent this. This is from the World Bank group. I'm not going to go into all the numbers, but just wanted to show you where some of this information was pulled from. And we went this spring to an Astronomers for Planet Earth event, another one on the campus of San Francisco State University, which is just really a few blocks away from the ASP offices. It was a great event which really got students excited about, you know, learning more about climate change and what they can do from it from the perspective of astronomers and space scientists. So there were speakers from NASA, and it was a cool event. And we brought out a scale model based on that information of, you know, the amount of water on Earth that's available to us. So the woman here with the globe, that's Linda Shore. She's the CEO of the ASP, and she kind of put this model together. So she brought out this globe of the Earth and some different size balls that you can see in those bowls down there, and just had some great conversation with folks about the water available to us on Earth. And I'm going to play now a short video. The audio wasn't great because this was such an amazing event, and there were like DJs playing, speakers. It was hard to actually get a great video with good audio here. So I'm going to play the video, but I'm going to narrate it for you without the video audio. Here's Linda talking to a visitor and handing him this glass sphere, which he almost dropped. And that sphere, compared to that globe, represents all the water on Earth. And you saw that in that graphic, but having this 3D representation is dramatic, right? So that's all the solid, liquid, gas, fresh salt water on Earth. Now, this smaller ball is all the liquid fresh water on Earth, the surface water and underground water as well. So just the fresh water, when we get rid of all the salt water in the oceans, it gets a bit smaller. And then finally, she hands him this tiny BB. I don't think you can even really make it out in his hand, but it's just a tiny BB. And that's all of the accessible fresh water on Earth. So a lot of the fresh water is actually in underground and not accessible to us or to other life on Earth. And that includes all of the water that's also polluted and not really suitable for drinking or life on Earth. And so like I said, we love scale models, and I think having this sort of 3D representation really helps us visualize, just how precious the water is on Earth. And they went on to have some conversations about like, why do some of us have easier access to fresh water than others? And of course, access to water is a big issue that we're facing as we think about climate change and its impacts. So having a kind of this scientific, sorry, I've got a little glare there, scientific, these numbers and representing them in this really tactile way can lead to some really thoughtful conversations. So just wanted to share that as one example of like the types of activities we like to develop to help communicate these ideas. And I hope you'll check us out at the ASP. Actually, let me grab that link there for our conference. And also on our website, we've got a whole bunch of great activities and resources. So you can navigate from that page to the rest of our website and check us out. So thanks for having us, and looking forward to hearing from the rest of you about what kind of stuff you're working on.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Anna. I must admit, if you don't know the ASP, go check them out. They were the inspiration behind the program I now run, which I will tell you in a few minutes here in Canada. But yes, no, awesome stuff for education, the ASP. Okay, let's move along with Catherine. You're up next.
Okay. Oh, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, of course. I should have done that before.
Okay. Great presentation, Anna. The scales available on the ASP website. That was my question too, that Michael has.
Okay, you should have permission now, Catherine.
Okay, it hasn't, still saying not yet. Oh, now there we go. Okay, here we go. So, hi everyone, my name is Catherine Williamson, and very happy to be here. What an amazing group. Astronomers for Planet Earth always gives me life and fills up my cup. So I just love this group. I am a co-chair with Julie of the Planet A4E Educational Resources Working Group. And, I'll go over kind of how to access some of the A4E resources if you haven't checked those out already. And just wanted to share some of my lessons learned from some educational work I've done in West Virginia. So if you haven't heard of West Virginia before, it's this state in the Appalachian Mountains of the United States. And it has a very heavy history with coal mining, very extractive industry, a lot of pride for coal, a lot of families who have had coal miners for generations, and the income has supported communities. So it's very an important sort of cultural thing to be aware of. And when I first started teaching about climate change through my work in astronomy, I was really nervous that there would be a lot of pushback. And I have been shocked that there's been like no pushback. Like people are interested, students want to learn, their parents are curious, even if they're like a little bit like doubtful, they're not rude. And that was kind of what I was afraid of. So I think this is it's been really encouraging to me. I hear, people don't want to talk about climate change, but I don't think that's true. I think people do want to talk about climate change, but they're afraid to talk about climate change. So I think a huge role for us is like breaking down those barriers and just making it a safe topic to talk about. So, and that, I don't want to play this TED Talk, but that has really been the theme of this TED Talk by Katharine Hayhoe. That's what really inspired me. The name of the TED Talk, it looks like it's being hidden from my presentation mode, is that the most important thing you can do to fight climate change is to talk about it. And that was sort of like, that was like a opening of the floodgates for me. I was like, oh, I know how to talk about climate change, or I can try talking about it. I can create space for conversations. That was just such like a awakening for me of, oh, we can talk about it a lot in so many spaces and keep it in consciousness. So one thing I did through my work as a professor is I taught a book club for college students at West Virginia University. We read these 3 books. One is very science heavy. Another one also, the astronomical perspective is really strong. Science and some history there and some philosophy. And then a really practical one by a Quaker woman of how to live life, sustainably. So the students in that created a podcast. It can be listened to on all major platforms. It's called WVU Climate Conversations. So again, we have that inspiration from Catherine Hayhoe to have conversations. So give it a listen if you'd like. Each student did an episode, so there are 7 episodes plus an intro. If you saw my talk at A4E about engaging elected officials, I also talk about where we had students and faculty go to our state capitol and talk with elected officials. Again, just breaking down those barriers. We weren't advocating for a particular policy or lobbying. We were just educating. And then I just wanted to share, since this session is really focused on resources, I wanted to share some of my favorite resources for generating conversation. So one of those is an infrared camera, which I know is a little expensive if you don't have access to it. I still think it's a worthwhile investment. It's about $400 US. You can see the greenhouse effect in action. So this plastic bag here is blocking the body heat from my colleague here, illustrating the greenhouse effect. So, and actually in that plastic bag, we used those, that spray gas to clean off your keyboard. That's like a very strong greenhouse gas. So we sprayed it in the plastic bag, which is, maybe we can figure out a better way to do it, but it's very, it is very noticeable. I also like to make purple cabbage, which you just pour boiling water on some purple cabbage leaves. And it creates this sort of middle color, which is a neutral pH. And the color changes with the pH. So what I do is it's more this color. I had students blow bubbles into it. So you're adding your CO2 to the H2O and creating carbonic acid to show ocean acidification. And then in this sort of extreme version, I poured vinegar to illustrate extreme acidification. I also like to have a hand boiler on hand. These are really cheap, less than $10 US. And they're so awesome, just glass tubing with colored alcohol inside. And when you hold it with your warm hand, just your body heat causes the thermal expansion of the liquid and the gas inside. So the water rises up visibly, and you can hand it around. It's really good, touchable, good for generating conversation. And it's definitely that wow factor right away. And in the United States, we have the Yale climate opinion maps, which if you haven't looked at these yet, they're really interesting. They kind of just give people's opinion down to the level of county level, even beyond a state level. And these are huge conversation starters as well. People are always really curious, well, what do people think where I live? What do people think where my aunt lives? And what do people think where my grandparents live? And again, this is also really interesting to our elected officials because they break it down by political district as well. So these are just some quick, easy things that I do pretty much any climate change educational event. Finally, I'll just share a little bit about the West Virginia Climate Change Teacher Professional Development Project, or WVCCPD. This is in its 4th year now, and we've just had a little grant from our West Virginia Space Grant Consortium each year to support teachers in learning about climate change. So over these 4 years, we've had networking sessions, lectures, even a graduate course where teachers could earn credit. And we've engaged over 100 teachers in learning about climate change, which includes both physical and social science. We have both experts on our team. Communication and youth voice, empowering their students to speak up, and then moving into action. So how do you write a letter to your elected official, or how do you kind of take that community engagement step so it doesn't stop at just the knowledge gain? And one part of that project are these public service announcement competitions we've done, where we invite West Virginia students to create video and audio clips that our grant then pays to broadcast on television, radio, news, and social media around the state. And when you add up, all the people that those avenues reach, we think that, as many as 40,000 West Virginians potentially heard one of these, which is really exciting to think about, and is coming from West Virginia students. So they have pride. Like their school is proud of them, their parents, their communities are proud of them because they're getting accolades and success and awards for engaging in climate change. And so it really didn't take very much money, and it's been, I think, paying dividends. So definitely a fun way to engage. And finally, since I did say I'm part of the A4E resources working group, I did just want to show everyone how to find those, the public resources here. It's thinking. I also created a video for how to do this for the conference here, but you'll see that there's 6 bubbles here, 6 categories that we are looking for resources to fill. The top 3 are really astronomy and A4E specific, and the bottom 3 are more general resources that we love and use and recommend that may not be from astronomers or from the astronomical perspective, but they're good for engaging on climate change nonetheless. So we really need more non-English resources, so please let us know if you can contribute to that. And what happens is if you click on one of these, you'll be taken to a big table of documents that are connected to that. You can search by tags as well. We've got a bunch of tags if you want something that's in Espanol. That's not matching something in the carbon footprint of the astronomy profession. So that resource is only in our non-English resources, and that's from Breezy as well. So yes, that is something to note, that when you search down here, it only searches for the category you're clicked on, but you can always do the global search in the search bar up here and just find anything. Like if you're interested in outreach activities, it will search the whole website and show you the different resources we found for that. So please engage. We'd love to have you join our group, and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I'm always inspired by your work, especially the teachers professional development. I think it's fantastic that you have that. There's a question for you in the chat. I don't know if you want to take it right away as I get ready for my part. Can you see it?
Which one about sharing the course syllabus for the book club I did? Is that the one that you're thinking of? Yeah, I can share that. Sorry, that loud parts. If you want to put your email in the chat, or you're just in our group, I can just email you the syllabus for that book club.
But you just put a link that, I'm sorry, your internet was breaking a bit for me. So you just put a link in the chat. I think that gives a lot of information about it, right?
That link was for the climate project with teachers. So actually that has a syllabus of its own too. So I guess just let me know which syllabus you want, and I'll definitely give you a copy of it. I can do both as well. I'll pull up a link to that syllabus while we keep going. And
yeah, just so you know as well, I know for me, and I think everybody has links to share. So the Google Doc that Catherine has been sharing a few times, that's where we put all the notes, and feel free to add your own resources as well. I think it will be a great repository of resources at the end of this meeting. Okay, so my part. Thanks to everyone who presented before me. I realize we have some there are some themes that will be coming back. I guess I'll have similar ways of talking about climate change and how the astronomy perspective on climate change. Hold on, can I? Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, so my name is Julie. I'm based in Canada. I run a program called Discover the Universe. It's actually a bilingual French-English program, so I also do it in French, à la découverte de l'univers. I'm just going to take you to our website very briefly. So basically the goal for Discover the Universe is to help teachers teach astronomy. So I train elementary and secondary school teachers across Canada. But really most of what we offer is online and free. So I know there are quite a few people from outside the country, from outside Canada, who take our resources, and you are welcome to do that. We have things happening on training and resources, and the blog, actually, we have some events there as well you can check. So anyway, I don't want to say too much about this program, but you are welcome to check what we have on the website. And there's a lot more actually being developed in the background right now, which we haven't had time to put on the website. So for me, when I teach about astronomy, this is definitely something I want to get teachers aware, is how unique our planet is. And I think it really it emphasized two main aspects. One of it is how our resources are limited, so the physical world being limited, but also how we're all citizens of planet Earth and all human beings being together on Earth, and how we need to work together. We're all the crew basically on the spaceship Earth, and we all need to work together to move forward. So what I've done over the years to try to bring that perspective, well, I'm just going to highlight a few things here which I've liked from the last few years, and one of them is the inspirational videos created by the Astronomers for Planet Earth team. Jessica and Steve Agnes have been creating amazing videos, and there's one in particular which I really like. It's the one reconnecting humanity to the Earth and stars. It's 3.5 minutes. I won't show it here because you can definitely go and watch it, but I'll put the link in the chat after I'm done talking and in the document. And in fact, I loved it so much that this was my first voiceover experience ever. I worked with Jessica to translate it in French so I could show it to all teachers here in Canada. It was my first experience. Especially since in French it's sometimes longer, so it's not as the flow is not as great, but we have both now, and I've used it in teachers workshop to start the discussion. So really as a discussion started in the morning, sort of, let's watch this, and what does that make you think about, and where can we go from here? I think it could be shown to students directly, definitely, but I like working with, I usually work with teachers, and I like how you can make connections to other subjects as well. But it talks about calendars, the whole daily and annual cycles, how our life has been based on those cycles, which are rooted in astronomy. Navigating constellations in different cultures, there's so many connections you could do there. It talks about light pollution, climate, obviously you can link to climate change, but how we've lost our connection to the natural world, basically. And this is something I try to emphasize in the workshops and the resources I create, is really to get kids outside and look up every time you can. I know you won't see everything if you live in a big city, but the moon is visible, the planets right now are there, and most students don't know about it. So just getting them outside to look up, it's a way to reconnect with, first of all, the sky, but also as you do that, you see if the weather is nice or not, if there's light pollution, you can reconnect with your environment at the same time. So definitely a lot of things you could take away from this video and go on different subjects, and of course ideas, and you could brainstorm ideas and activities, and teachers always come up with different ideas of what you can do following this video. So I encourage you to watch all the videos. They're all online, but they're also in GatherTown right now. I think on the right there's a video room where you can go during this week, so you can watch the videos there, and I will put the links later on. Of course, anything that will make people realize we live on a finite world in terms of resources. And Breezy has touched on that already, Anna as well, in terms of scale models. And that my next point, you'll laugh because I have the exact same image Anna had a bit earlier, but I think it's, it brings the point there that as soon as you model the Earth, and if you want to add the amount of water or the thickness of the atmosphere, I love doing that. Just for them, I used to think as a kid, I remember oh, there's a lot of pollution going into the air, but you kind of feel, well, oh, there's so much air anyway, right? But when you look at it from outside, the perspective is so different. And just creating a scale model of the Earth and the moon, even this is roughly right for the sizes, but then when you ask students, where would the moon be? They'll usually put it here, right? But understanding how far away the moon really is. And the image that's on the screen right now is taken from an activity. There's a write-up there that I will share with you. It was from a workshop we did a few years ago. So there's some, I should really rewrite it in a more general format, but it kind of says look in front of you at the table. So obviously you don't have the table, but it tells you what you have there. And with a regular 1 foot globe or 30 centimeter globe, the moon is on the other side of the room, basically. So that already gives you an idea. And what I like about it is that we add where's the space station, because people tend to think the space station is halfway to the moon, but it's actually very close to the Earth. And then we add the atmosphere, which is basically the thickness of a sheet of paper, and we do add the water, but instead of having it as a ball, which I love the idea actually that Anna showed earlier, but we have a transparent water bottle, and then we just have put 15 millimeters, and it's just so tiny. At the end you just have 1 or 2 drops of water, and that's the amount of available water for drinking. So it's super simple, but I find it very efficient in showing the scale. And of course, if you have, I guess mine has a hole in it, but if you have the Earth ball, I love the Earth ball. It's a wonderful resource to have, and it's easy to carry because you can inflate it. Mine has a hole, so it's getting deflated a little bit. But it's, anything, I think, to view the Earth from outside and get kids to realize like, hey, we're on this, but the Earth is actually in space as well. Google Earth is a fantastic tool as well online to go from where you are and then see the globe as a whole, things like that. But anything that can show the Earth from space, I think is fantastic as well. So you could model the Earth, have the ball, like really the Earth in front of you that you can connect with, but then show images of how it looks from space. And now we have many options. I mean, the pale blue dot image, Earthrise, there's so many of them. Now we have the Artemis images from last week. One of my favorites is actually this link from NASA. Again, I'll put the link later on, but it shows you basically the Earth today. It's like the daily Earth. I have it right here. So this is the latest image, and what I like, you can go around the Earth and see the Earth today. And I love that the perspective is pretty much what the sun sees. So right now we're definitely seeing more of the southern hemisphere because it's winter in the northern hemisphere. And you can see if you go at different dates, for example, okay, hold on, this is a bit small. Can I do it quickly? If I go in June, let's go. Then you don't see the Antarctica as much, but if I go in North America, for me, that's the best reference because we see Greenland a lot better, and we couldn't see it at this time now in November, December. So anyway, to see the Earth from above, see how, even to explain the seasons, I think it's a fantastic tool. But just seeing like, this is the Earth, and when there are big hurricanes, you see it on there. So it really connects with what kids might hear about, and then what it looks like from space. So yeah, anything that can show the Earth from space, there's many of them now, but it's always a good addition. And finally, I want to share a resource that I've been working on. So the climate app, and I will show you in a minute, was developed by a team from McGill University. Nick Cohen developed it with his team. He uses it at university level, but there's the beginner options that are easier for high school students. And we just finished creating some educational material that in French, it's online, but in English, it's coming up soon. And I should really promote it more afterwards. So this is on our website, the Discover the Universe website in French. We have the link to the Appli Climat, which is Climate App in French. We have a Google Slides that explains all the concepts and 2 activities with it. And just show you quickly what the climate app is like. It's just climateapp.ca. And you can change the amount of energy you get from the star. So you can even simulate other planets and other systems if you'd like. You see the temperature of the surface and what the surface would be like without the greenhouse effect. So you can remove the greenhouse effect and see what the temperature on Earth would be like, which is around -18. But then if you add an atmosphere with the right opacity, which the Earth right now is more like 78%, then we have that the temperature on the surface is more like 15 degrees. So you can really play with, what if you remove the atmosphere? What if you add it? What if you have a planet that reflects more light or that absorbs more light, and so on? So there's a lot in this simple app. You could go to the advanced level if you're really keen on the science behind it. I usually just use the beginner, but we will have resources coming up soon on our website. And if I just go to Discover the Universe, the English page, it will be in the resources section. I just haven't had a chance to add it yet, but it will be there soon. So this is a bit more advanced, but I think there are some great things to do with this app as well. So we'll put all the links in the Google Doc, and well, that's what I wanted to share with everyone. So that, I'm going to remove the spotlight on me. That's what is Christine here? I don't think she is, right? So Christine is traveling, so I don't think she's going to be with us, unfortunately, but that gives us time for questions or for other resources that people would like to share. So I would like to invite all of you, if you'd like either to tap it in the chat. I know there's been some action in the chat. I haven't been able to follow everything. But if you'd like to ask questions or share your own resources that you like to use, please, this is the time.
Yes,
and thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just made another bullet point in the Google Doc, and I'll put the link to that in the chat again for just resources that we've been sharing in the chat here. if you haven't already, we'd love to hear from you in that document. It's just an informal space, so don't get stressed if it's not perfectly sentence structure or anything like that. We just want to know what brings you here and want to hear from your.
A question about what you do, like if you're in a public event, do you take, I mean, you're sort of interacting with kids, do you go with the globe and the water, or which activity do you use that's most effective, do you think, for, you know, for a short, you know, when you're having a walk-up crowd kind of thing?
Anna, do you want to answer that one, since you definitely, well, you had that in your booth?
Well, for that public event, we used the globe and the water, and I love that one, and would love to, you know, kind of develop that some more. And I liked your idea, Julie, of having water bottles with actual water with the amounts. That's a great idea. I don't know if the rest of you have maybe some suggestions of other great public.
Yeah, I like to bring the infrared camera anywhere I go. And the cabbage juice, so easy to make. I've like gone to just a cafe and I'm like, can I just have some hot water? And I pour that over the cabbage leaves, and in like no time I have cabbage juice. So everything's really easy to get at just any convenience store. The infrared camera is not easy to get, but the hand boiler too, so cheap. And just pass them around, let people try it out themselves. Those have been the most successful to me. And sometimes I do have a computer set up or a tablet set up with the Yo Climate opinion maps, even if it's like a big busy event, if you can.
I'll try the planet and the water sometime soon, hopefully.
I think any scale model, I don't do that kind of outreach often anymore, but I think any kind of scale model is usually very efficient. So that's always like, depending on the size of your ball, you can do the calculations for everything else, but I think that's always very useful. Yes. And yes, I'm going to put, I see the question about the climate app and the moon to the earth scale. So sorry, I'm doing that right now. Put them in the Google Doc. Anyone else has tried, you know, activities that work well and they would like to share with us?
Yes, Adrienne.
I don't have an activity to share, but so many of these are so many wonderful ideas and things that all of you have implemented, and what it makes me wonder about, because one of the things I've done at San Francisco State University is work on the introductory astronomy lab that's taken by 600 students every year, and I'd love to it needs revision. And one of the things I'd love to do is work on incorporating, some of these kinds of things into that lab. And I'm curious whether that's a sort of, whether there are other people who are interested in, working together on, on developing, taking some of these things and putting them into a form that could be used in introductory labs, which are probably pretty common all over the place, and potentially lessons in introductory classes. There's, of course, we can all share materials, but sometimes coming together, I'm curious whether anyone would be interested in coming together, I don't know, a few times, whatever it would take to actually do it together. Yeah, curious what anybody thinks about that.
Yeah, I think we could definitely think a lot more about activities to do in an astronomy lab, like in the college, at the college level. I just put in the chat, I think I have some ideas already from our project with teachers. We have, it's like a NASA satellite called MassCon, which stands for mass concentration. And it so it uses NASA satellite data to look at like where water mass is and how it's changing over the globe. And you can see, like, for instance, the fastest sinking city in the world in Indonesia. And then I just saw that city was in a National Geographic article. And so I think you could do a lot to do interdisciplinary connections and link to like what it would be like to live in these places and try to make explanations from there. So that's just one example. I mean, there's so much NASA data and visualizations that from that Earth, that whole Earth perspective, that I'm sure we could go hours and hours brainstorming it.
I'd also love to do something similar for a public engagement, a set of, you know, activities and models and things for public engagement. And ASP does that sort of thing. We create kind of toolkits for amateur astronomers or other folks talking to the public, and would love to do something like that more formally as well. Yeah. And
Yeah,
there
I
might be
noticed
some
in the,
overlap, you know, with
oh,
things you
definitely
use.
there's
Yeah.
overlap, definitely. I noticed in the chat someone saying that it can be overwhelming to go to the resources section and, you know, like, well, what do I use? And so I think there is room for having, you know, here's a set of things that a few people here have said, okay, if you're just looking for something in this category, you know, here are some good things in this category, here's some others. It's tricky to figure out how to do that, but maybe it's a good challenge to have to pick a subset of things that if someone, yeah, pick a subset of things to kind of highlight. I don't know, the education working group folks, I think, are the ones to think about that, all of you.
Yeah, our next meeting is December 8th. If you want to join, we'd love to have you. It's at 5 p.m. UTC. Let me know, just send me your email and I can keep you up to date on that. Also, we are hoping to get a members only area of the website going where we could share things that we might not put on the public website, like the syllabi that I've shared in this chat. I wouldn't really want those posted in a public location, but I'd be happy to share it with all of you. So things like that, we hope to be building out more as well.
And this is exactly why we started, we created this workshop so we could share our favorites. Because yeah, I realized that there's a lot. I am also, even though I'm involved in the education and the web resources working group for A4E, I still haven't checked everything that's online, just because there's a lot, and I have a full-time job and so on. So that's a bit why the five of us had decided to, okay, let's share what we have so far and let's start a discussion. And yes, Michael, you had a question.
So I've been a lingering in the background of A4E for a while through the email chats and whatnot, but I've always been pondering or figuring out if we could have some sort of A4E at professional meetings where there would be it used to be very popular to do these like wiki meetups where you would edit everything for an hour and just go, get a big cup of coffee and just go, getting everyone together in the room together to motivate one another. And we won't sponsor anything at the AAS meeting, but are there plans and through the IAU it's the South Africa conference would be an ideal time for that for people who attend in person, but also at the AAS meetings, don't know if they'll, what fraction of people would attend, but having a splinter session at one of these events where people just come together and do this sort of work, because it's hard, I think it's hard to do it outside of the meeting time. You come back to your office and then you realize you got a million things to do, and then you don't do the organization bit that you intended to do. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I found I live in Minnesota, and I found that a lot of students don't really care that Miami is going to be underwater, or I'm from Virginia. I tell them my class is going to be my home is going to be underwater in the next 30 years because of where I grew up in climate change. But they do care if the lakes are melting, that they go ice fishing on. And I found if you're looking for resources to personalize to the state that you're in or the region you're in within the United States, and I assume there's analogous organizations that would do the same, but checking out with the in Minnesota, it's the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, but some equivalent organization, there are oftentimes many more environmental scientists working there than there are within your astronomy department, and you might find historical records of ice melt or historical records of sea level rise presented already for your age group if you're trying to develop lectures that are personal to the folks that might be coming to your public outreach or to your university class. So that's all.
Yes, thank you. That's a very good comment. I see sorry, I'm trying to look at the chat because I know there's some stuff that happened in the chat, and then the Google Doc is being filled with lots of links. This is fantastic. Actually, yeah, that was a bit our goal, to have a Google Doc full of links afterwards. And I see the time, so we're almost out. But is there, Breezy, Anna, Catherine, did we miss any obvious question in the chat that should be answered at this point? Because I see many answers as well. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to just put in a plug for NOCI, the National Network of Ocean and Climate Change Interpreters. They are mostly focused on folks who work in museums and zoos and work with the public. And they have a lot of really research-based communication approaches for talking to the public about climate change. It's really based on the North American population, right? So we US citizens are kind of a unique beast, but how to most effectively talk to people about climate change, and in order to inspire hope to get them to act. And again, it's based on a lot of research. So I recommend checking them out. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat for them. And it's NOCI, the National Network of Ocean and Climate Change Interpreters. And they had a lot of NSF funding that helped them create their methods. Go ahead, Julie. Sorry.
Oh, well, I just wanted to add that Anna and I took their crash course last year, and for me, it was, it really helped me feel more confident talking about climate change. I'm not a climate change expert. There's some, I understand the general science, but there's a lot of details I'm not familiar with, but just getting like, how do they present it? What are the key points that we should all know and that we should focus on? And it made me feel more confident. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight that. Hey, thanks everyone for coming to this workshop. It was great for me to share with Breezy, Anna, Catherine, and unfortunately Christine, who couldn't be here. But there's also, I just want to highlight that this is topic 4 during the symposium is about the subject as well. I don't remember the exact title of topic 4, but it's about education. So there are some videos to watch on this topic, and there will be a discussion session on Thursday. Actually, Catherine and I are moderators for that one. So we'll, if you are there on Thursday in Gathertown, we'll see you, but make sure to watch the videos. And Adrian, where are they again? I'm sorry.
Sorry, which, oh, the videos. Yes, you mean
all the videos for each topic.
Oh, for each
you go
topic?
to the homepage of the conference, and there you have the 4 topics. And if you go to topic 4, they are at the very bottom of the page.
Thank you. I hadn't gone that far yet, but it was my goal for the next few hours and next few days. So thank you, Breezy, Anna, Catherine. I don't know if you want to say a final word to everyone.
Just thank you all for being here. It's so nice to be part of this community, and I look forward to getting to know more of you guys and learning from what you all.
Yeah, I do see a question there that most of these are focused in North America, these initiatives, and that's so true. And I think that we need more folks from other places in the world to get involved and share their resources. We're all volunteers, so we're sharing what we've been doing, and we'd love volunteers from elsewhere in the world to do that as well. I just
want to highlight quickly that there's a big resource being created by a team in Europe called Pale Blue Dot that I'm really looking forward to seeing. I believe it's an OAD sort of key initiative. Anyway, check it out. There's Pale Blue Dot out of, anyone has the exact credentials of the people who are creating it, feel free to share it. But I look forward to that. A lot of educational material for kids in there. And sorry, Breezy, if you wanted to say one last thing.
Well, speaking of the thing we're trying in Slack, we have a channel that it's I forget, like language Spanish, I think it was called. But the point is that it's just to bring people who speak Spanish, in my case, right? Spanish, that's why, because with Spanish, we also can create materials in our own language, not only translated, but also shared with the Spanish community. It's big. I mean, Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world. So, so yeah, if you're interested, and if when you were saying something referring to most of it is in North America, if your language is Spanish, so join us, because it would be amazing to, have more interaction there. And yeah, basically that. And then somebody said something related to not knowing. I think it was you, Julie, and I feel it's the same for me. Like maybe not knowing so much about climate change to feel confident, but if we all look the things that we're passionate into and we can relate it to that, then maybe this is the approach we can give, which might be good for some other people who are relating their passion to the same passion we have, right? And it would be a way to approach this topic. And well, anyway, thank you very much, everyone. It was very nice to see so many of you here.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Great session. And so, yeah, so many great ideas. We'll keep in touch and look forward to seeing all of you during the week.
And I'm still looking for that link for the pale blue dot. Cecilia Scorza is the lead. She gave a webinar on A4E, so I shouldn't know about it. Like there's a hold on.